Dog whistles and rabid barking, a fairy tale for the unhinged. So let's talk about the irony. You know, the kind so thick you could pave a runway with it. So you've got the mainstream of media, or as I like to call them, as you know, the mainstream of sewage, frothing at the mouth about so-called dog whistles. It's their favorite thing. It's their favorite thing. They say there's a dog whistle, and then they just interpret it in any way that they feel like interpreting the dog whistle that no one can hear except for them for some reason. So it's like really a dog whistle. First of all, I gotta say, dogs can't whistle. I've never seen a beagle belt out a tune. Why? Because due to having huge tongues that don't fit behind their teeth without making us with scrunched up like xylophone tongue, which isn't good for whistling, they can't whistle. Dogs can't whistle, okay? But sure, let's pretend political rivals are communicating through invisible ultrasonic whistles like a secret Morse code for maniacs. Because that's not ridiculous or anything. Because people aren't just yelling whatever they think right as soon as it comes into their mind in the most explicit way that they can articulate on whatever platform they are spewing it on. So, but here's the reality. Looking for dog whistles these days isn't necessary or productive. It's like looking for Bigfoot riding a unicorn that was bred in Atlantis. So it's imaginary, it's make believe, it's the fairy tale bedtime stories that hacks tell each other on MSNBC sleepovers. Not because there's not such a thing as a dog whistle historically, but because, of course, the dog whistle is just a cover for whatever the propaganda is that they're going to then spew out there and say that I heard it with the secret whistle, but the whistle wasn't for me. It was for the other dogs out there, but I heard it and I'm the only one that so even if the dogs could whistle, which they can't, they wouldn't. The dogs wouldn't whistle. Why? Because it hurts their ears. Dogs don't like dog whistles are really people whistles meant for torturing dogs. And that's what the mainstream of sewage is basically doing. They're torturing people with their whistle. They're supposed to be inaudible to humans, yet somehow Rachel Maddow hears them loud and clear every time someone disagrees with her. You know, I'm starting to suspect she's the whistler. I don't know. I don't see how no one else sees this. All right. She's the whistler because she's the only one. How else could you explain that she's the only one that can hear the whistles and then like interpret them in a way that no one else knows what she's talking about? But then she like puts because she's the so you want irony? Here it is. Some people screaming about dog whistles are the ones literally barking violence on prime time. So you don't need a whistle. So these aren't subtle suggestions. You don't need secret decoder rings. These are rabid, foaming, froth at the mouth, rage much snarling into the camera like they're cast for barking bad. Breaking news edition. So they aren't just hearing dog whistles. They're issuing howling commands to the pack. Riots, mostly peaceful. It's not really a whistle, right? Arson, it's a symbol of the poor guy's righteous pain that he's expressing. That's kind of like a pretty explicit, support of the looting. That's just a harmless cry for help with a free flat screen. These aren't watchdogs. These mainstream of sewage. They're attack dogs, unleashed by the pound and fed a steady diet of victimhood, Marxism, and soy. And here's the kicker. They have the audacity to call everyone else dangerous, violent dog whistle listeners. So I am neither dog nor do I like listening to whistles, unless it's calling my steak order to the table. So let me say it plainly. Stop chasing the mythical dog whistle. Subtlety does not seem to be our current form of discord at this point in time, okay? We're not living in a world built by Jane Austen at this point in time. The dog whistle narrative is a bedtime story for gullible journalists and Twitter mobs with journalism degrees from Hogwarts. Instead, take a look around. What you will find are real dogs, slobbering, bloodthirsty, rabies-infested, ideological pit bulls barking hate in plain English, not coded, not subtle, not a whistle, but a cold-blooded, curdling, unmistakable howl emanating where from? From the sewage. It's coming from the sewage. That's what they're trying to hide. They're trying to hide the source of the whole thing. That's where they come up with the dog whistle narrative, so they can cover like the tracks of where it's coming. Okay.